those of you who don't know me, I've been kind of the voice behind the scenes the last couple weeks. My name's Jay Cooper, and I am uh, one of the organizers here for 1 Million Cups Iowa City. Um, we have an interesting special program set up today. It's meant to be more of a kind of group discussion rather than just a presentation um, with questions at the end. So we're calling this one the Crowdsourced COVID-19 Survival Guide. Um, this is an opportunity for folks to talk about what they've done that's worked well, what they've done that has not worked, and everything else in between. So I do want to thank our sponsors today, as they are sponsors every week. The University of Iowa's John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center, America's SBDC, Iowa City Area Development Group, the folks that run Merge, when we're not all quarantined and it's open to everyone, and Public Space One. So they've been great sponsors through all of this. So definitely give them all a visit once everything reopens. We have a litany of folks who are um, our organizers each week. There are a bunch of us where the pictures are all available on our 1 Million Cups Iowa City website, which is the number 1millioncups.com/Iowa City. So check that out. It's also linked through our Facebook and Twitter and all that. So our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles are all the number 1 and then Million Cups IC. Of course, we are streaming through our Facebook Live platform right now. So we're having a lot of fun. So I do want to start out with kind of opening this up to everyone. So what specifically, if you can think of one thing that is getting you through this right now, what would it be and why? Don't everyone go at once. Cool. Very nice. Mhm. Mhm. Nice. Nice. Anyone else want to share what's been working for them and why? I guess I'll go next. So, like I've said before to a lot of folks, I am routinely work even before all of this stuff went down. I work from home most days each week, um, and I do, of course, miss Wednesdays, which was the usual day I would get out of the house and come to 1 Million Cups and do that sort of thing. Um, miss that, but what works for me usually is I don't know if anyone's heard of the tactic called Pomodoro. How many of you have heard of that? So essentially, it's or time blocking might be another term you've used. So yeah, so having a specific amount of time, and then you take a specific amount of time as a break in between. Because I have an 8-year old and a 4-year old who, of course, are at home with me. Have been at home with me now. This is the third week, and they don't understand that I need to be in my office and working during the day. But if I'm able to, say, take 45, 50 minutes where I say, okay, I'm going to take this 50-minute block and do the work that I need to do for 50 minutes, and then the other 10 minutes of each hour I will come out and I will see what you're doing. I'll take a look at whatever your art or answer your questions or get you something or that sort of thing. I've noticed even before they've been home all the time, even like when they're on breaks, like winter break, that sort of thing, when they're here the entire time. That seems to actually work because they're both old enough to understand, okay, I can handle 50 minutes. I can do something for 50 minutes. If it's an emergency, of course, they're allowed to come in and say something. But for the most part, it's, give me the 50 minutes, I'll give you 10 minutes. And then being able to take half an hour for lunch, or say, okay, you have my undivided attention during this half an hour. And then, of course, finding a time in the evening that's the end of the day. Being able to have that home work life balance that I know is kind of getting lost with moving everything into one place all at the same time. So if you're able to have that separation between, okay, this is my workday, 8 to 5 during those time blocks, and then after 5 o'clock, say, okay, I'm now at home. This is the time where I can just interact with you and that sort of thing. So I've noticed that's worked for me. So anyone else have any input on things that are working, things that uh, have been great so far, and why? Nice. Hmm. Right. Right. Very nice. Very nice. Any? Mhm. Mhm.
Like under a shorter duration. So you do like half an hour of work and then you take 15 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, similar concept. And, especially if you have, kids or dogs that you got to run outside that seem to need to go out a lot more frequently right now for some reason.
Mhm.
I think that would work, and obviously you can, adjust the time frames um, for your situation and stuff too. I think that would be, I mean, beneficial for a lot of people, and it kind of
Right.
sets a schedule when schedules are kind of not doable right now.
That's
It
right.
seems. Yeah, I think that would be like I said, under a different name, but I think that would be a good option for a lot of people.
Mhm. Anyone else have any input here before we move on to the next question? I'm not hearing anything. So, um, I guess kind of question two that comes to my mind. We've all, at least I feel like I've been on Zoom pretty much nonstop these past 3 weeks. Um, so we're going to kind of go into software tools. So what sort of software tools, productivity tools, anything in that realm is helping right now? So like I'll start. I use of course, Zoom, uh, Google Hangouts to a lesser extent, especially if folks are kind of in that sphere of influence, the Google sphere of influence. I know people have been using FaceTime if they're Apple folks, and then kind of off the video side of it, I've ended up having Slack open a lot more, and I've noticed it actually has picked up in use. There are a couple Slack channels I'm on that it seemed like everyone had kind of quit using prior to this. Like they were really active maybe a year or two ago, and then just kind of fell off over the past year. And now all of a sudden, now that we're all trapped behind a computer screen all day, that it's actually active again because people need some outlet to actually communicate with each other. If it's can't be face to face, it's through text, and that sort of thing. So I'm using Zoom a lot. I'm using Slack a lot. Um, basically anything, any sort of communication tools seem to be the key right now. So, um, with that being said, what sort of anything software related have you been using, and what's working, what's not working?
We got one of the Alexa, the why can I not think of it? One of the like the Alexa little screens,
Hmm.
that like the home thing. I Echo, Amazon Echo, um, and we've been using that just as something different. It helps connect with family too,
Hmm.
but the Echo is just a little something different that you're not staring at your computer screen like all day. It kind of forces you to get into a different room.
Sure.
Um, just I mean, it can jump down a wormhole of getting into other stuff. Like watching a movie or something on it, but.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's been good in getting out of sitting at the desk and kind of trying to work, but not really working because there's so many other distractions and you're not used to being at a different desk or whatever.
Sure.
But that's worked for us, and it's helped connect with family when we're not supposed to be traveling to see them and stuff.
Right.
But that's worked for us as a software. I mean, if you don't have one of those, I think they have like the phone app, or there's the Facebook portal, or tons of different options that are not staring at your computer screen that
Hmm.
might work for people too.
Nice.
Jay, one of the things that I've used a lot, and it's really identified which platforms I want to use for video calls, is the ability to share my screen and use the whiteboard.
Hmm.
I find that on these calls, and I'm kind of a big whiteboard fan anyway, even in my office,
Hmm.
but if I have the ability to take those notes and share my whiteboard, that my client is seeing that activity, they know that I'm fully engaged with the call and it's making a real difference.
Sure.
And while a lot of the platforms have whiteboards, but to varying degrees, I found the Zoom one to be the best because it
Nice.
allows me to both freehand or use text. Microsoft Teams only allows me to do freehand type things, which gets kind of ugly on the screen when you're trying to use that same webcam, from your laptop or what have you.
Hmm.
But that's a tool that's really helped me, and it's helped me engage the people on the other end of the call a little bit better by having that activity that's a little bit more normal to them.
Sure. Sure. Any other tools that people are using?
Hi, Tanya English here. I forgot to introduce myself. Tanya English from Healing with the Blues and Quantum Healing International. I'm working with some other people. We're doing an event that was supposed to be live in July. It's now going to be online, which is actually good because we can invite more people. And we may use something called OBS. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you know about that, but I've never heard of it before. But I'm kind of behind the times because I just use Zoom um, just constantly, and the phone. And so it makes it really easy to do that. So I'm looking at OBS and to see if anybody else has had experience with that and knows about that. I'd love to talk to you about it. Um, and then really just using Facebook Live like we did the other day, except without the new thing that came up in front of me that you were looking at before, Jay, that had lots of cool things, technical things to do that I just really don't have time for at this point. I'd love to do wipes and changes and all that stuff, but it's a little too technical for me at this point.
I was gonna say I've been using OBS as well for live streaming and that sort of thing, and there are parts of it that work and parts of it that don't. Every time it upgrades, it seems to, at least for me, it seems to reset certain things, which can be kind of frustrating, especially when you only use it once or twice a week and then are surprised that things have been reset and you have to quick move around and try to get everything set back the way it was before you live stream again. So, I understand your pain.
Yeah,
and
I
frustration.
know there's people are using StreamYard as well. In order for anyone to comment, they have to go in and log into StreamYard before their comments are seen. So it just adds another technical thing to actually doing it. So that's why we're looking at OBS to do this, because then they don't have one more step they have to do in order to interact with the live things. So we'll see what happens with that.
Sure.
Tanya, I was a little late coming in, but if you're looking for an approach that's less technical, I really do think that Zoom should be thought of as your venue, knowing that you can automatically stream it out into Facebook or YouTube. That kind of is it, right? There's a lot of tactics, there's ways of improving the experience, but I think this is probably the least technical requirements to providing kind of that virtual experience.
I think so, but there's still people that just, I couldn't get it in there. Like, okay.
And those people can, join you from any device, whether it's Zoom or not. But if they're unable to participate, they can still watch the stream and participate on Facebook, asking questions, and that lives on if you want it to.
Right. So. Thanks, Finn. That's awesome.
It's good to see Columbia, Missouri in the house too. What up, Tom? Type of work. So this hasn't shaken things up too much as far as how we're communicating with our organizers. However, I'm in the home building industry. That's gone in an interesting direction. And so we're looking at ways of, providing virtual open houses and making sure people feel comfortable being in these new homes we're building. And as far as software solutions go, I think, Zoom paired with Facebook is a pretty solid approach that's pretty easy to implement. If you do have to go down a paid path, it's still only $10 to $20 a month. And so Slack is a tool that to me can be a little overwhelming, but is nice if you have people that want to stay connected, and is already worked well for a lot of remote type locations. And social media can get loud with things that can bring you down, but I think we've seen a lot of humanity in that realm lately. And so being aware of, what people are doing as entrepreneurs and through 1 Million Cups, and just kind of staying connected to folks, whether that's a video chat, whether that's a tweet, whether that's a Facebook connection. That's how I've been, I suppose, staying connected and also having some fun. I've really found some interesting silver linings in this time. And I think our connected era at 1 Million Cups was perfectly timed to take the next step. And so I'm really proud of the Iowa City community and seeing how Iowa is starting to connect through 1MC with this virtual thing. I think we're going to come out hungry to build and be even more connected. So I'm kind of an optimist, if you can't tell. But I definitely have appreciated staying connected with the 1MC Nation through these experiences. So special cheers to our organizers and the presenters and what you guys are doing in each of your communities.
Nice.
I don't see him in here, but Ricardo's really going to have to step it up after all this.
Question for you. I put it in this the chat channel, but I saw on the 1 Million Cup Slack page that you were in a Zoom meeting when someone Zoom bombed. So can you kind of talk about what steps they took? I know you can do preventative steps, but like, what if that happens, like right now? Like what would you say are the steps you should do in the moment?
What is that Zoom bomb? I don't even know what that is.
Do you
Yeah,
want
to explain it?
Give you a quick explanation of what happened. It was the Albany Bucks County collaboration. They had about 45, 50 people on the call. And all of a sudden, a bunch of people started joining. You could hear their audios as they came in kind of abruptly. And then after the presenter, which did a great job sharing her 6-minute presentation, we were moving into the Q&A. And the first question was from one of these, I don't know, trolls, hackers, bombers, call them whatever you want, right? Uninvited guests. It came in and asked a super inappropriate question to kind of open things up. And it's just like, I think everyone was like, what's going on, right? There was a moment of freak out. But compliments to the organizing team who had, a couple of people who had control of the room. They controlled the situation perfectly, as well executed. Yes, it was awkward because it came out, but that moment they muted everybody and they went to the raise hand. And so you had to kind of be activated by the host. So that was a good tactic that they immediately implemented. They also locked the room, which wouldn't allow anyone else to join, which isn't maybe a bad idea after you kind of get things rolling with your 1MC experience, kind of cutting things down, knowing that, people might have missed out jumping in late, but we'll see you next week. And so those quick tactics, and kicking people out, booting those folks as they recognize them. It was really well managed in a little bit of an awkward situation, but being prepared for that in your settings prior to the call and knowing how to manage the room with your team, they really handled it well.
Well, that brings up a point. I was watching the news this morning and they were saying, like, don't share your Zoom publicly. Make sure that people get it privately, the Zoom link. And I was like, I wonder why that happened. And now you're answering me as exactly why that happened, because hackers can come in and trolls can come in, bots probably too. So thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Nice. Thank you.
If you look into the settings of Zoom, there's all sorts of ways that you can kind of lock this down or leave it more open. And so finding a balance and knowing how to work it in the moment in case that does happen, I think those two steps will allow you to avoid the awkwardness. But the reality is, look, we're 1MC. This is controlled chaos anyway. So it wasn't like, all of a sudden, everyone left because that happened. It was just kind of an awkward moment. Now we're talking about it. We're learning from it as 1MC Nation. And so it didn't slow us down. And so it was an interesting experience. That was the first one I started this morning.
So Ben, most of us are used to doing the one-on-one calls in Zoom where there's just one host. Talk to me a little bit about how the team looks like, the organizing committee on these larger calls generated for 1 million cups, where do we have the co-host capability? How is that team looking from your experience?
Yeah, Tom, I appreciate it. Jan, it's good to see you back in the chat as well. I don't want to overtake the Iowa City 1MC experience with a Zoom Q&A for 1MC organizers. Know that we've got our region-wide call, tomorrow, both at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. So we could talk more about those things, Tom. Specifically, just to answer that question though, there are ways of co-hosting, and so whether that's being able to spotlight the presenter, save things in the chat, control any situations that might come up. There are ways that multiple people can have access to the same Zoom experience so that you can work together as a team. And I think the tactic there is to do a dry run. Right, you're doing a good job, as is Grayson and Jan, jumping in and seeing how others are doing it. I think Liz might be on, maybe from Des Moines as well. And so that's a good step forward, but then taking your premium account and testing it with your organizers, maybe even giving your presenter a chance to feel out how it's going to work when it comes to sharing slides. that dry run will give you a lot of confidence when it's Wednesday morning, knowing that once you do it once, we're good to go moving forward every week. So I wanted to respond, but we can talk more about this tomorrow. It's great to see everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice. And yeah, don't feel like you're stealing. I mean, this is a crowdsourcing event where we're trying to get folks to um, share best practices, tips, that sort of thing. So thank you so much for that. Um, so for those of you who are parts of larger organizations, startups, or corporations, um, are you using any sort of platforms like Basecamp or Asana or any of those things that kind of helps you organize projects for teams? I want to kind of get a feel for if anyone's using anything like that.
The business group that I'm in, we use Coach Accountable for sending in information for coaching. So as a participant of that, we've been using Coach Accountable, and that works really well to get planning stuff in. And so I just finished my April plan, a little late, and sent that in. But that's what we've been using in that group. I started to work with Asana, and I just said, okay, this is a whole nother layer of stuff I don't need. So let me just go back to my CRM, which is Dubsado, and get better and more acquainted with that. So that's what we've been using.
Nice. Anyone else using anything in that area? Nope. You're all. I guess show of hands, or we could kind of go around and kind of introduce. I know we've got a variety of different business types. A lot of folks who kind of do their own thing. Are any of you part of a larger organization than just a freelancer or a self-employed entrepreneur, that sort of thing? At least of the folks I can see, I think. Nope. You're all just kind of on your own. Nice. I am as well. At least I am with most of the stuff I do. Well, there's Grayson.
Hey.
How about you? Do you guys at ISU use anything like Basecamp, Asana, any of that sort of thing?
We don't. We're a little bit more unique. We are part of a large, obviously, multi-thousand employee organization, but we're all very segmented as well. So, my specific team that I work on is about 7 people, so it's pretty small. We don't use anything like that. For us to basically keep track of our team is we have daily 11 o'clock standing calls, standing Zoom calls, to basically keep us on task. I know specific individuals on our team will use their own software that they deem necessary, like Asana or something like that. But as far as a university-wide or organization-wide, not necessarily.
Okay. So standing calls and that sort of thing, is that, or at least certain appointments that you're keeping with clients, is that something that you're keeping up now, kind of the same, instead of having those in-person meetings? For those
Yeah,
of you.
we're figuring that out. We work very closely with the SBDC as well. So my particular unit, I work for the Entrepreneurship Center at Iowa State, but working closely with the SBDC. So we're partnering together to kind of fulfill the needs or give education to everybody who needs it right now. Most of that is obviously being done virtually or even just initially through phone calls, just to understand what small businesses are dealing with right now, where they need help, making sure they know about the resources that are happening or coming. As far as delivery of content, we have moved everything to webinars. We used to do workshops and competitions that are in person, and we just started a 6 series virtual workshop webinar, basically lunch and learns. We had our first one yesterday, which was actually very successful. We had about 40 people jump on. And when we originally scheduled it in person months ago, we had about 15 people sign up. So knowing that we have a much wider reach and audience doing it virtually, it's not the same impact. It's not a true workshop, but knowing that we have a bit of a bigger audience is kind of a cool thing that has come out of this whole deal.
Nice. So switching from, work-related things. So we're all stuck in our homes. We're all stuck somewhere during this. What are you doing? What new things have you added, or what things have you continued to keep yourself healthy mentally and physically? Lots more walking.
That was me saying I'm walking. That's
Nice.
about it.
Do you live somewhere where you've got walking trails nearby, or is it just kind of just scooping around the neighborhood sort of thing?
Around the neighborhood, yeah.
Nice. Nice. Anyone get the bike out early?
No, we go walking on the Clear Creek Trail, and I did a live video from there the other day. So if you go to my personal page, Tanya English, you'll see that live video, because I wanted people to hear the frogs, the peepers that are just deafening right now. And it was like, hey, you guys, I'm trying to get some relaxation out here. And it was just a beautiful day for a walk. So we put that up, and so going for walks and talking to neighbors as I'm out in the yard raking, or just, staying in touch with people through the neighborhood, because we have a lot of dog walkers around. And so it's really fun to just see everybody out. And when we were on the trail the other day, I've never seen that many people on the trail before. So it was a perfect time, babies and dogs and all kinds of people out. So I'm actually seeing more people out on walks. And then there's been some really cool things that people are doing. A friend of mine over on the east side of Iowa City saw lots of kids stopping by her yard and found out that she has a little gnome statue that was on a scavenger hunt. And the kids were doing a scavenger hunt around the neighborhood. So doing stuff like that, like I know that there's a thing where you can put a bear in your window, because kids are going on bear hunts to find bears, and hearts too. So we're and then I have a big picture window right here, so I'm thinking about doing a painting on it, but I have to figure out what kind of paint I need to get. So doing stuff like that, just that's creative. And then, like I said, playing music for friends online and listening to them too, and going to concerts. We have a friend who is doing a share in, let me see where it is. It's in Facebook, and it's QC. It's for the Quad Cities, and it's for they pick a QC Hive. They pick a different venue or artist every day, and because there's 1,000 people, more than that, in the group now, they ask everybody to donate $1 a day, and that way people are getting paid, and they're getting some income when they don't have any right now. So QC Hive is doing that, and it's just a really cool thing. So today they're sponsoring Molly O'Dunn and Durnan, and they have a PayPal up for her, a Venmo for her. And so they've been doing this, that today's day 10 that they've been doing it. And they're just doing a great job at, sharing with everybody and making sure it's just $1, just send in your $1 and everybody's good. So it's kind of a neat thing that people can do to share and make sure that those people who have no income, because they are giggers and they just, get paid for what they play, are actually getting some income. So it's very cool.
Nice. So lots of walking, lots of getting outside. I'm personally hoping that the weather is going to do what it says it's going to do by the beginning of next week and get up in the 70s, so I can get all the windows open. That's the one thing I love about this time of year, is finally getting those windows open and getting kind of all that winter, that dead, the air inside your house kind of gets that wintry deadness almost to it, and just being able to open those windows, just let everything flow out and get that the breeze coming in through the windows. Like I live outside Iowa City by a couple of miles, so get that fresh country air into my house. It's kind of nice as long as the wind is from the right direction. So I know I'm personally looking forward to that. My kids, and also I'm looking forward to that for my kids to be able to send them out in the backyard and let them get some fresh air and get out of the house and release some of that just pent up energy they've had the last couple weeks of being stuck inside the house. Trying not to force them to do a lot of homework. Try to have them do a little educational stuff during the day so their brains don't completely shut down. But let them be able to run and go and just mess around in the yard like they've wanted to do now for a couple weeks. So, yeah, anyone, I know Liz is a big bike rider. I don't know if she's gotten her bike out yet this year.
I have. It was really nice. For all those people who are saying that the parks are really crowded, the roads are not. So if you want to truly social distance, go out for a bike ride. It's really nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping
It's like not too hot, not too cold. So highly recommend.
I know out here I live out by the Hoover Nature Trail, so we end up with a lot of. We usually have a what my family refers to as the Tour de Oasis. It's like 20 people all riding together down the road. It almost looks like a mini ragbri going down there. So I'm hoping at least they stay the 6 feet apart like they're supposed to, but do their kind of tour down the street now that the weather's getting a little nicer and before a lot of the agricultural equipment starts kind of clogging up the roads out here, because it's always fun to just watch, just one bike rider after another. I've got a big picture window in my office here, so I can just kind of look and just watch them go by, and it's a lot of fun. So it's nice to get that fresh air.
So my friends and I have been using the Zoom platform to have happy hour. You might highly recommend that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually had a happy hour with some high school classmates last night that I hadn't seen in 15, 16 years, or hadn't talked to. I'm friends with them on Facebook, so that's how I got invited to the thing, but haven't actually interacted with them, face to face in a couple of them since 2001 when I
That's
graduated high
pretty
school.
cool.
So that was nice. I'm actually invited to another one tomorrow, which is kind of nice too. And those are folks that are more entrepreneurial ecosystem builders. So it's interesting where the conversation goes based on the group of people you're having these happy hours with too. So very nice. Yeah, so we've talked kind of outside, keeping your sanity and keeping your health, both outside activities and inside activities. Gardening season will be starting here hopefully soon. Hopefully, cross your fingers. We've had the last of the winters. I don't know if you've ever seen that, like winter one and then fake spring and winter two and spring of deception and then winter three. And hopefully we're past winter three now and we're into actual spring going forward. Based on where you are. I know, Tom, you're down in Missouri, so your spring gets there a little bit earlier than ours does up here in Iowa. And then Grayson, I know sometimes winter lasts maybe a week longer over in central Iowa than it does here in southeast Iowa. So cross your fingers. Winter's almost done. Spring is coming. That'll be nice to get out. So I guess one last question. We've got about 15 minutes left to kind of go through stuff, but something I know I want to cover that, at least as a freelancer, a lot of my stuff is gig based. So it's, people have a need for a website or they have a need for a video series or something creative. I had a bunch of projects that we were kind of in the planning stage, and we were going to get going on things in April and May and June, and you could just hear the pipeline just crunch shut right when this all started. So, what is everyone doing to kind of keep their pipeline open for new clients or new projects or that sort of thing?
Good question. We're trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Jay, social media is certainly a place to continue to have that heightened awareness, and continue to build those relationships. I'm encouraging all of my clients to take this time to reach out to their current and past clients, and just to have a it's not about sales.
Right.
It's just to have a conversation, because we're seeing this everywhere, that a lot of people are really lonely in their houses. They're missing that social interaction. And if you as a vendor will reach out just to have a conversation, just how are you doing? If it turns into a business conversation, that's great. But it's really very powerful. I was really impressed. Our local Chamber of Commerce, of course, their team, they're all basically shut down with events, shut down and all of that. But everyone on the team took 80 to 100 of the members in the chamber and got on the phone and called them, just checked in with them. What can we do as a chamber to help you? Are you aware of some of the webinars and programs that we're doing? And what can we do to connect with you? And I was really impressed that they did that. Of course, I do a lot of work with the chamber, so I know all of them really well. So it was just a great, get back together conversation. But I think for a lot of business owners that pay their chamber dues and really have no other interaction with the chamber during the year, this is going to be really powerful for them. I think it's going to pay great dividends for them coming out of this. And I think the same thing is going to happen to our businesses as well. If we maintain those relationships, when I have a service need, that HVAC guy that called me and just checked in and said, hey, how's you doing? The seasons are changing. Have you changed your filters? All that stuff. He's going to be my first go-to guy. And so I think that really makes a lot of difference. And it's about being, and I think we talked about it a little bit before, it's about being very, very intentional about how you're going to spend your day. And so when you start the day and identify, you know what, I'm going to call 3 of my past customers today, and here's the 3. And so that you actually get that accomplished, I think it can be really, really powerful.
Sure. Nice. Anyone else have tips or tricks or suggestions?
Hey there, this is Cliff from the Columbia chapter. My wife and I run an online retail business, and we kind of struggled with the same exact question. What do we do? Because we don't feel comfortable making a sales pitch right now. We don't feel comfortable trying to go out and sell our product right now. But basically just came down to the question of how can we provide a service. Our retail stuff is children's based. You may or may not be able to hear Paw Patrol going on in the background right now, because we've got a 4 and a 5-year-old right here who we have to entertain and who we have to, avoid all of the stir craziness. And so that led to talking about, well, we've been thinking about putting out these activity sheets for kids that are based off of some of our retail products, and we've just never actually pulled the trigger. That would be something that we could very, very easily finally pull the trigger on, put it out over social media and just say, hey, parents, we feel you. Here are some ideas. So that's what we started this week, and we're going to continue that for the next several weeks.
Sure.
Cool.
Any other comments?
Yeah, this is a really good time for relationship building, like Tom said. I mean, it's when you're in fear that there's a problem. So what I started to do before we all got into our houses was to talk about, how it's important for you to stay out of fear, because when you're in fear, then your immune system doesn't work as well. Your digestion shuts off. So explaining and teach people about how their physiology works during this time is really important, because it's not rocket science. It's how your body's working. It's how your thoughts affect what's happening in your physiology. So I'm going to be doing a few more lists of things, like here's good food to eat to boost your immune system, and here's, because it's so easy to just stuff yourself with junk.
Yep.
And just as an aside, my sister posted this really kind of funny, sad video of this little girl crying because she was going to have to eat only what her mom cooked, because McDonald's was closed, Pizza Hut was closed, oh, Chinese food is closed. It's all closed. And she's just wailing away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid might actually get healthier if her mom's cooking. But it was like, no, mommy, I know. It was just hysterical. Sad and funny. Sad that's what she relied on to eat. And funny that she was just devastated that she had to do it. The other funny thing she put up was a husband and wife where if you could choose, there's two things that you can do during this. So which do you choose? A, staying with your husband and the wife says, ooh, B, before she even knows what it is. Oh, can I pick B? I'll pick B. Before they even tell her what it is. It's very funny. So relationship building with things that are funny and keeping it light is really important too. And helping people stay out of fear. I teach a technique called 4-count breathing that helps you come from fear and emergency mode into centered and calm and rest, digest, and heal. So I'll tell you right now, it's very simple. You just breathe in for a count of 4, hold it in for 4, exhale through your nose for 4, and hold it out for 4. So 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold. And what that'll do is it'll reset your nervous system. Emergency workers have a 10-year less life expectancy because they go into fight or flight. And you could go into fight or flight really quick, but it takes hours to come out of it. So when you do that 4 square breathing, it's very, very simple, and it's really easy to come right out of it. And if you practice it a lot, then you get really good at it. Then you can go to 5 or 6, and it's really good for your immune system. So just a quick tip, go to my YouTube channel.
Very cool. And yeah, we've been putting links and things in the Zoom group chat. I'm going to make sure those get transferred over to our Facebook video as well, just to make sure everyone who's watching gets a chance to see those links, because I know there's some folks that might be driving or doing something they can't be on Zoom, so they're just kind of passively watching on Facebook Live, which that's why we offer both, so folks can hear what we're doing or they can interact on Zoom. So kind of as we're wrapping up here, we have just a few minutes left. Does anyone have any closing thoughts or nuggets of wisdom? Because we have no idea how long whatever this is going to keep going. It could be, we're planning the next month to have 1MC online all the way through the end of April. We're hoping things are back to normal then in May, but you can't put a time frame on something like this. So just kind of go around any nuggets of wisdom to keep yourself grounded, keep yourself sane, keep yourself healthy through this.
Put your feet on the ground at least once a day. Make sure that you're dispelling all that negativity into the earth, and it'll help balance your immune system. Do your 4-count breathing at least a couple times a day. Just take a breath break. It takes 32 seconds to do it around twice. So do that really simply. Get yourself grounded, and then remember to be thankful. It is so important to be thankful. Be thankful for things that you don't have yet, and be thankful like you already have them. And that will give the space for it to drop into your life. So those are my 3 tips.
Very nice.